My signature experience video. I did mine about making a snake game within the Java language. The first thing I had to really dig into was Jframes and how to use them specifically. I had reference to Blue Pelican Java book, which told me a lot about Jframes and how they actually worked, and the template I used to actually develop the game uh, itself gave me some explanation to what they were. So essentially, Jframes are going to be these things right here. When you run anything in Java within a JFrame, it's going to come up in a different window and it's going to operate on its own. You can use commands like color, you can resize the canvas, and things like that. One of the things I did when I was first learning how to program was making a JFrame, putting something in it, and making it change colors every time you resize the window. Within this game, though, I had to make the original program window size about 10 times larger, the icon size 5 times larger, in order to make the game a little more playable and a little bit more fun to play. And I had to make the JFrame unable to be changed in size so that we could have the walls of our game and then our apples and things like that would be spawning where they're supposed to be. I also had to do a little bit of research into key readers, which were very interesting because the way they work is that you have to put the key pressed into a specific object and use that to determine the outcome within the frame. And every time you press the key, it has to go through 5 or 6 different methods just to make sure that the key pressed resulted in something that was supposed to happen. And one of the big ones is checking that the position of the head is not on a wall or the body, or if the head gets to an apple, then it needs to add the extra dot at the end. The game itself, I've already explained some of it. Snake is basically you're a snake. You go around collecting apples, and every time you collect an apple, your length grows in 1. So within this game, all the icons and things were saved as PNGs, went into a separate resource folder, referenced by the program itself. The program puts the apples in random spots around the board, wherever the head isn't, and within the border of the walls, so that the snake can go around and collect the apples and keep growing. And upon death, as shown right here, get game over, your score. I had tried to implement a play again button. However, it was just a little bit too much for the JFrame itself. And these are going to be my sources. All right, so let's actually look into the code a little bit. So these are going to be our integers that we started out with. These are going to be the sides and lengths of all of the window. Just making sure that it's going to be 1000 pixels in width and 900 pixels in height. The dot size is going to be 50 for the whole area. This is just a number that you get plugged into a equation down further that calculates wherever the apple is going to be. And this is the delay when you move, so that when you move, it's not just like instant and you instantly die. You have a little bit of time to think while your snake moves around. These are all going to be used in the saving of the direction, and it's going to determine whether or not you're moving left, right, up, down, and whether or not the game is over. This is going to create the JFrame itself. So it's going to give us a black background. I'm going to make the JFrame itself the size we set up here. It's going to be fun. This is calling onto the images into, I'm sorry, I had to try this multiple times, into this folder. There's apple dot and head. This is actually going to start the game. It's going to locate the first apple, make sure all your moves are working. You're going to start out with 3 dots. And a lot of this is just the different graphics for when you win a game or playing the game. Just making sure that everything's working. This is going to check to see if an apple is on the board. And if there isn't, then you have to add a dot to the snake, and then you have to put a new apple. This is going to be how the snake itself moves. Checking to make sure that the snake doesn't come in contact with its own body or the walls. Making sure that it never reaches the pixels. And this is going to do the game over screen. This is checking where the apple is. And this is making sure, or not making sure, storing the key presses and making sure that everything goes as planned. So here's going to be the game itself. Your snake's going to move around. You collect the apples, and every time you collect an apple, you can see the snake's body grows in length. And when you die, it comes up with the game over screen and the total amount of apples you collected.